sacrifice, service to country, service to each other, and gratitude even in the face of suffering have long been part of what Thanksgiving means in America. You know, looking back over our history, you see that it's been in the most difficult circumstances that the soul of our nation has been forged. And now we find ourselves again facing a long, hard winter. We fought a nearly year-long battle with a virus that has devastated this nation. It's brought us pain and loss and frustration. And it's cost so many lives. 260,000 Americans and counting. It's divided us, angered us, set us against one another. I know the country has grown weary of the fight. We need to remember we're at war with a virus, not with one another, not with each other. This is the moment where we need to steel our spines, redouble our efforts, and recommit ourselves to the fight. Let's remember, we're all in this together. Sounds trite to say it, but we're all in this together. For so many of us, it's hard to hear this fight isn't over. We still have months of this battle ahead of us. For those who have lost a loved one, I know that this time of year can be especially difficult. Believe me, I know. I remember that first Thanksgiving, the empty chair, the silence, takes your breath away. It's really hard to care. It's hard to give thanks. It's hard to even think of looking forward. And it's so hard to hope. I understand. I'll be thinking and praying for each and every one of you at this Thanksgiving, at your Thanksgiving table, because we've been there. This year we're asking Americans to forego so many of the traditions that we've long made this holiday, which made it so special. For our families, for 40-some years, we've had a tradition of traveling over Thanksgiving. Tradition that we've kept every year save one. The year our son Bo died. But this year, we'll be staying home. We've always had big family gatherings at Thanksgiving. Kids, grandkids, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, and more. For the Bidens, the days around Thanksgiving have always been a time to remember all we had to be grateful for, and a time to begin to think about Christmas and begin even to do the Christmas list. But this year, because we care so much for each other, we're going to be having a separate Thanksgiving. For Jill and I, we'll be at our home in Delaware with our daughter and our son-in-law. The rest of the family will be doing the same thing in small groups. So I know how hard it is to forego family traditions. But it's so very important. Our country is in the middle of a dramatic spike in cases. We're now averaging 160,000 new cases a day. And no one will be surprised if we hit 200,000 cases in a single day. Many local health systems are at risk of being overwhelmed. That's the plain and simple truth. Nothing made up, it's real. And I believe you always deserve to hear the truth from your president. We have to try to slow the growth of this virus. We owe it to the doctors and the nurses and other frontline workers, care workers, who've risked their lives, some lost their lives, put so much on the line in a heroic battle in this virus against it for so long. You know, we owe that to our fellow citizens who need access to hospital beds and care to fight this disease. We owe it to one another. It's literally our patriotic duty as Americans. It means wearing a mask, keeping social distancing, limiting the size of any group we're in. Until we have a vaccine, these are the most effective tools to combat the virus. Starting on day one of my presidency, we will take steps that will change the course of this disease. More testing will find people with cases and get them away from one another, slowing the number of infections. More protective gear for businesses and our schools to do the same, reducing the number of cases. Clear guidance will get more businesses and more schools open. We all have a role to play in beating this crisis. The federal government has vast powers to combat the virus. And I commit to you, I will use all of those powers to lead a national coordinated response. But the federal government can't do this alone. Each of us has a responsibility in our own lives to do what we can do to slow the virus. Every decision we make matters. Every decision we make can save lives. None of these steps we're asking people to take are political statements. Every one of them is based on science, real science. Now, the good news is there has been significant record-breaking progress made recently in developing a vaccine. And several of these vaccines look extraordinarily effective. And it happens that we're on track for the first immunization to begin by late December, early January. Then we'll need to put in place a distribution plan to get the entire country immunized as soon as possible, which we will do, but it's going to take time. I'm hoping the news of the vaccine will serve as an incentive to every American to take these simple steps to get control of the virus. There's real hope, tangible hope. So hang on. Don't let yourself surrender to the fatigue, which I understand it is real fatigue. I know we can and we will beat this virus. America's not going to lose this war. We'll get our lives back. Life is going to return to normal, I promise you. This will happen. This will not last forever. So yes, it's been a really hard year, particularly hard for over 250,000 people and their families. But I still believe we have much to be thankful for. There's so much to hope for, much to build on, much to dream of. Here's the America I see, and I believe it's the America you see as well. America that faces facts, an America that overcomes challenges, an America where we seek justice and equality for all people, an America that holds fast to the conviction that out of pain comes possibility, out of frustration comes progress, and out of division, unity. You all know in our finest hours, that's who we've always been, and that's who we shall be again. For I believe that this grim season of division, demonization, is going to give way to a year of light and of unity. Why do I think so? Because America is a nation not of adversaries, but of neighbors. Not of limitations, but of possibilities. Not of dreams deferred, but of dreams realized. I've said many times that this is a great country. We are a good people. This is the United States of America. And there's never been anything we've been unable to do when we've done it together. Think of what we come through as a nation. How many things we've come through? Centuries of human enslavement, cataclysmic civil war, exclusion of women from the battle box, world wars, Jim Crow, the long twilight struggle against Soviet tyranny that could have ended not in the fall of the Berlin Wall, but in nuclear Armageddon. Look, I'm not naive. I know that history is just that, history. But to know what came before, what's come before, what's happened before, can help arm us against despair. Knowing that previous generations got through the same universal human challenges that we face. The tension between selfishness and generosity, between fear and hope, between division and unity. And what was it that brought the reality of America into closer alignment with the promise of reality, justice, and prosperity? Sounds corny, but it was love, plain and simple. Love of country, love of one another. We don't talk much about love in our politics. The political arena is too loud, too angry, too heated. To love our neighbor as ourselves is a radical act. It is what we're called to do. We must try. For only in trying, only in listening, only in seeing ourselves as bound together in what Dr. King called the mutual garment of destiny, can we rise above divisions and truly heal. Look, we all know America's never been perfect, but we've always tried to fulfill the aspiration of the Declaration of Independence, that all people are created equal, created in the image of God, and that we've always sought to form a more perfect union. What should we give thanks for this season? Well, first, let's be thankful for democracy itself. In this last election, the one that just took place, we've seen record numbers of Americans exercise their most sacred right, that of the vote, to register their will at the ballot box. Think about that. In the middle of a pandemic, more people voted this year than have ever voted in the history of the United States of America. Over 150 million people cast a ballot. Simply extraordinary. Many of them waiting in line 5, 6, 7, 8 hours to vote. If you want to know what beats deep in the heart of America, it's this: democracy. The right to determine our lives, our government, and our leaders. The right to be heard. Our democracy was tested this year. And what we learned is this: the people of this nation are up to the task. In America, we have full and fair and free elections. And then we honor the results. The people of this nation and the laws of the land won't stand for anything else. Through the vote, the noblest instrument of nonviolent protest ever conceived, we remained anew and were reminded anew that progress is possible, that we the people, have the power to change what Jefferson called the course of human events. And with our hearts and our hands and our voices, today we can be better than yesterday. And tomorrow we can be still better than that day. You know, we should be thankful, too, that America is a covenant, an unfolding story. That we have what we need to create prosperity, opportunity, and justice. Americans have grit and generosity, a capacity for greatness, and reservoirs of goodness. We have what it takes. Now we have to act. This is our moment, ours together, to write a newer, bolder, more compassionate chapter in the life of the nation. The work ahead is not going to be easy. It will not be quick. You want solutions, not shouting. Reason, not hyper-partisanship. Light, not heat. You want us to hear one another again, see one another again, respect one another again. You want Democrats and Republicans and independents to come together and work together. And that, my friends, is what I'm determined to do. Americans dream big. As hard as it may seem this Thanksgiving, we're going to dream big again. Our future is bright. The fact I've never been more optimistic about the future of America than I am right now. I, honest to God, believe the 21st century is going to be an American century. We're going to build an economy that leads the world. We're going to lead the world by the power of our example, not just the example of our power. We're going to lead the world on climate and save this planet. We're going to find cures for cancer and Alzheimer's and diabetes. I promise you. We're going to finally root out systemic racism in this country. on this Thanksgiving, in anticipation of all the Thanksgivings to come, let's dream again. Let's commit ourselves to thinking not only of ourselves, but of others as well. For if we care for one another, if we open our arms rather than brandishing our fist, we can, with the help of God, heal. And if we do, and I'm sure we can proclaim the psalmist, with the psalmist who wrote these following words: "The Lord is my strength and my shield, and with my song I give thanks to him." I give thanks now for you, for the trust you've placed in me. Together, we'll lift our voices in the coming months and years, and our song shall be of lives saved, breaches repaired, a nation made whole again. Folks, from the Biden family to yours, wherever and however you may be celebrated, we wish you a happy Thanksgiving. May God bless you, and may God protect our troops. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, that was President-elect Joe Biden's Thanksgiving address. He was really urging Americans to stay safe this holiday season, even though it's hard not to be around your close family members and friends. He said that when you stay home, you may save lives, saying, quote, "Gratitude, even in the face of suffering, have long been a part of what Thanksgiving means in America." So switching gears now, corn and cob. 2 turkeys were pardoned by President Donald Trump. Let's check in for the latest on that right here on News Now from Fox.
Well, thank you very much, please. And I just want to congratulate everybody. The Dow Jones Industrial Average just broke for the first time in history 30,000. It's now, that's good. It's great for jobs, and it's good for everything. And this is the 9th time that we set a record during the course of 2020, and it's the 48th time that we set the record during the Trump administration, and there's never been anything like that. So I just want to congratulate everybody that worked so hard in the White House, but maybe most importantly, the people of our country. It's a tremendous achievement. The First Lady and I are thrilled to welcome you all to the beautiful Rose Garden, where the First Lady actually worked very hard on renovating it. It was 61 years. It was in rough shape. A very big job, actually. When you go to the wires underground, people have no idea how complex it is, but you've done a fantastic job. Thank you very much. And we're also very happy to have with us my daughter Ivanka and Jared, and Theodore, Arabella, Joseph. Thank you very much for coming. They like the turkey. Thank you very much. On behalf of the entire Trump family, I want to wish every American a healthy and very happy Thanksgiving. We're here today to continue a beloved annual tradition, the official presidential pardon of a very, very fortunate turkey. Because Thanksgiving is a special day for turkeys, I guess probably for the most part not a very good one when you think about it. The first turkey to dodge the White House dinner table received unofficial clemency when President Abraham Lincoln's son, Tad, begged his father to spare his new friend. For the past 73 years, the National Turkey Federation has presented the national Thanksgiving turkey to the president, starting under President George H.W. Bush. These birds have received a formal pardon every single year. Today it is my honor to present to you this year's lucky bird, corn, and just in case we needed him, cob. Corn and cob. That's not too hard to remember, is it? These 2 magnificent gobblers were selected from the official presidential flock of 30 turkeys, some real beauties. They were raised by the chairman of the National Turkey Federation himself, Ron Cardell. Ron, thank you very much, Ron. Please stand up. Great job. Ron, thank you for being here, and your family, beautiful family, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. Like so many presidential flocks, this one started in the great state of Iowa in what can only be described as an act of blatant pandering. And by the way, I love the state of Iowa. These two turkeys sought to win the support of Iowans across the state by naming themselves Corn and Cob. After today's ceremony, these birds will retire under the care of skilled veterinarians at Iowa State University, a tremendous university in Ames. Once there, people of all ages will be able to visit them and learn about poultry science, veterinary medicine, and the noble American tradition of farming. We love our farmers, I'll tell you. And we hope, and we know that's going to happen, that Corn and Cob have a very long, happy, and memorable life. This year, our nation commemorates the 400th anniversary of the Pilgrims landing on Plymouth Rock. After arriving in the New World, the brave men and women of the Mayflower endured a bitter and dangerous winter, very, very dangerous winter. Many were sick, most were starving, and all were praying for a miracle. Thankfully, God heard their prayers. From our earliest days, America has always been a story of perseverance and triumph, determination and strength, loyalty and faith. This week, in a time that is very unusual, but in so many ways very, very good, what we've endured and been able to endure with the vaccines now coming out one after another. It's an incredible thing that happened. One of the greatest medical achievements that this planet has ever seen. But it's time to remember that we live in a great, great country, the greatest of them all, and there's nothing even close as far as I'm concerned. Every American can be united in thanksgiving to God for the incredible gifts He has bestowed upon us, the blessings of family, community, and this exceptional, beautiful, and great country. It's greater than ever before. During this Thanksgiving, we extend our eternal gratitude to the doctors, nurses, healthcare workers, and scientists who have waged the battle against the China virus. And we give thanks for the vaccines and therapies that will soon end the pandemic. It's just such a tremendous feeling to know that they're coming, and they'll be coming probably starting next week or shortly thereafter. We send our love to every member of the armed forces and the law enforcement heroes risking their lives to keep America safe, to keep America great, and as I say, America first. Shouldn't go away from that, America first. We give thanks to the priceless freedoms that we've inherited, and we ask God to watch over and protect our nation and its people during this incredible holiday and in all of the years to come. We ask that of God. Once again, Melania and I wish to thank everybody for your incredible courtesies and also wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And now it's time for the moment of our guests of honor. They've been waiting, and in this case, he's been waiting for this. And bring him out. Look at that beautiful, beautiful bird. Oh, so lucky. That is a lucky bird. Corn, I hereby grant you a full pardon. Thank you, Corn. What a great. Oh, that's what you are now. Iowa Farm. I knew I liked you for a while. That's great. Beautiful. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Puns before
right, President Trump pardoning the turkeys. Now, this is a really interesting tradition. I did not know that this started with Abraham Lincoln when his son met a turkey, befriended a turkey, and begged his father to spare his life. Ever since then, it's been an ongoing presidential tradition to grant a turkey clemency. Now, News Now from Fox's Regina Gonzalez caught up with a local historian on how and where did Thanksgiving turkeys even come into play. So let's check in with her for the latest. Some of our audience will see a quick break. For the rest, we will continue to listen in to News Now from Fox.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us on News Now from Fox on this Thanksgiving Day. I wanted to bring you a special interview regarding some facts behind the birds you will all be chowing down on today. I am joined by expert Dr. Julie Long from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, who is here to tell us all about them. How are you, Dr. Long? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm well.
Well, let's get started right away. So first of all, can you really tell me, myself and the viewers, because I'm not a turkey expert, the history of the modern turkey breed?
It's actually a very interesting history and one that folks probably don't fully appreciate or realize. So everybody knows that we have wild turkeys running around the countryside. And many folks probably think that those are where our modern day turkeys came from, when in fact, the history of the domesticated turkey actually dates back to America. The birds were domesticated there, and when the Spanish conquerors came over in the 16th century, they saw these big, beautiful birds. And at that time in Europe, they weren't eating anything that was as big as a turkey. So when they saw these birds, they took them back to Europe. And during the next 100 years, it was actually the Europeans who developed Jamestown. They brought domesticated turkeys with them on their ships. So when they landed on the shore.
All right, guys, we're having some technical difficulties. We're going to switch gears and we will bring you that package a little later, I promise. But right now, if you're in the holiday spirit and want to give back, News Now from Fox's Pilar, she's going to speak with the Salvation Army on what you can do to give back this holiday season.
Fox host Pilar Arias, currently joined by the Salvation Army's Commissioner Ken Hodder. Thank you so much for joining us, Commissioner. How are you doing?
Pilar, it's great to be with you. Thank you for allowing me to join you today.
So if you wouldn't mind telling me, please, exactly what you do for the Salvation Army and even why.
Well, my privilege is to serve as the Salvation Army's national commander. And I do so because I believe God called me to this work. I was practicing law in Los Angeles in the mid-1980s, and I simply felt that God wanted me to do something else with my life. So my wife and I gave ourselves to the work of the Salvation Army, and we haven't regretted it for a moment since. It's been a marvelous, marvelous 32 years.
I know the great work that the Salvation Army does, but I know for most people, they feel like they don't hear about the organization enough until disaster strikes, whether it be a fire or a natural disaster or around the holidays when people need help the most. If you wouldn't mind, with all your years' experience, what makes this year different? Because the holidays are already here.
It would be no exaggeration to say, Pilar, that since the beginning of the pandemic, the Salvation Army has seen a tsunami of need. In a typical year, for example, we'll serve about 52 million meals, about 1 million meals a week at 7,600 locations across the country. Well, since the middle of March this year through the end of September, that number was 100 million meals. We have provided an additional 1.6 million nights of shelter. There have been about 900,000 instances of emotional and spiritual support. So we have seen people's physical circumstances and their psychological and their emotional and their spiritual circumstances deteriorate substantially. So the Army has been doing everything it can to help in all of those areas.
How has the pandemic impacted both monetary and physical donations?
Well, we're anticipating at this point that what we have seen so far will continue to be the case throughout the Christmas season. We're projecting about a 155% increase in the number of people that will come to us at Christmas, which will be well over 6 million people. So the Salvation Army has had to adjust some of its traditional fundraising mechanisms. Everybody knows the Salvation Army's Christmas kettle. It's an iconic symbol of giving and caring for one's neighbors at the holiday season. Well, this year, in addition to kettles, we're going to be doing a number of digital things to allow people to give safely and simply to the Salvation Army. I think it's important to mention at the outset that there will be kettles, but there simply be fewer of them. We have fewer retail locations. We have less foot traffic than we have in the past. There's a national coin shortage. And on top of that, many of the people who would traditionally put a little money into the kettle are now receiving Salvation Army services. They're not able to give. So as we look to make that more digital, we are doing several things. First, we're taking our kettle locations and we're making them all electronic, in the sense that when you walk up to a kettle, you simply tap your phone on the sign and you'll be able to give electronically. People will be able to go to our website, rescuechristmas.org, and there they can find out about everything that the Salvation Army is doing in their zip code and make a donation, either one time or a sustaining gift of $25 a month that will be critical for us. And that's because if we were to do the Christmas Kettle campaign this year as we have in the past, we believe we would experience about a 50% decline in the amount of money that's going to be coming in. And for us, that would be about $60 million. So the Salvation Army is doing everything it can to let folks know that there's an enormous need and that there are ways that they can support our work.
Essentially, since this all started 8 months ago, how would you say donations have been in this time, though? Have they been down?
The American public has been very supportive. We have seen a strong desire on the part of people to support the work of the Salvation Army. Digital fundraising has been strong, but it is the absence of that physical presence at Christmas in front of many stores that has us concerned.
Speaking of the retail stores, would you say it's still safe to drop off items at locations and even purchase?
Absolutely. We take all the necessary precautions, PPEs, social distancing, everything that a local authority is requiring, the Salvation Army is observing. But at the same time, it's important for us to do the work that we do, because millions of people have fallen into poverty since the middle of May. And the Salvation Army would not be true to itself if we didn't respond.
How many people is the Salvation Army planning to serve, not just tomorrow, but essentially this whole holiday weekend here with Thanksgiving? Meals, the locations, physical, actual events. What do you think?
I don't know about the particular number for this weekend. I do know, however, that there will be a range of activities. There will be drive-through food distributions. There'll be grab-and-go holiday meals. We're going to be continuing to serve people in terms of homeless shelters. We're going to have online events for children. We're going to do everything we possibly can to make sure that this Thanksgiving does not go unnoticed. We all have something to be thankful for, Pilar. And that is something that we want to make sure people remember this Thanksgiving. We want them to remember that they're loved and they're cared for, that there are others who are concerned about them. And so we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that's the case.
Commissioner Hodder, we're already looking forward to 2021. Anything else that you would like to tell our News Now from Fox viewers?
I'd like to do two things. First, I would like to thank all of your viewers. The support that the Salvation Army has received in the past years has made all the difference to our work. But second, we need you now more than ever. The Salvation Army needs your support if we're going to meet all the need that we're going to experience this year. Please go to rescuechristmas.org and find out what we're doing in your community.
All right, Commissioner.
You're watching News Now from Fox, and this is a live look at Herald Square in New York City as they are preparing for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Some of our viewers will see a quick break. For others, we're going to take you all to Chicago, Illinois to see how that city is giving back to the community.
Hey, I'm Brittany Garzillo. You know, Thanksgiving is the day that many of us enjoy a big feast, but for some families this year it is more difficult than ever to put food on the table, and that's where the Salvation Army comes in. And we are at the Salvation Army Freedom Center in West Humboldt Park. The parking lot right now, not a lot going on, but later this morning it could be pretty busy as they will be giving out free Thanksgiving Day meals. Today from 11 to 1, the Salvation Army will be giving away 2,000 Thanksgiving meals to anyone homeless or hungry in the city. Chefs at the Salvation Army made the meals from scratch, and what's really cool is that all of the food, which includes 700 pounds of turkey and 550 pounds of potatoes, was donated by Levy Restaurants based in Chicago. In the past, the food was served as a sit-down meal at the Freedom Center, but because of the pandemic, they transitioned this year to contact-free pickup. There will also be a mobile unit making more than 20 stops throughout Chicago to bring meals to those on the streets. The people here at the Salvation Army want people to know that these meals are made with love. Reporting in Chicago, Illinois, Brittany Garzillo.
Free Thanksgiving meals for some people in Chicago, all courtesy of the Salvation Army. Switching gears now, we want to bring you all a holiday special from our sister station Fox 35 in Orlando. They're wishing everyone a very happy Thanksgiving right here on News Now from Fox.
Orlando.
Now on Fox 35, some real-life angels helping children 2 wheels at a time. And
I'd gone through my savings at that point, and then I had gotten the letter from my mortgage company saying that my mortgage was going up. So I was literally like looking at my bank account thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to make it?
a single mother getting some much-needed help just when she needed it the most. The heartwarming story of a local church paying it forward. Plus,
it's what we wanted. We wanted a big family.
a local family paying it forward by making sure kids in the foster system have a place to call home. Thanks for joining us. I'm Luann Sorrell. Becoming a foster parent is the ultimate way to help your community. Meet one family who is paying it forward over and over again.
It's what we wanted. We wanted a big family.
And a big family is exactly what they got.
What's a normal day like?
It's a full life.
Very loud. It's very loud in our house.
They have 5 kids, ages 8, 6, 5, 4, and 10 months.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's crazy, but it's fun.
Peter and Kendra Amico first chose to start their large family through fostering.
We wanted to give a home to a kid who didn't have a lot of other options.
First came Jalen.
He was 9 months when he came to live with us, Jalen, so we fostered him and then got to adopt him after a year.
Kendra then gave birth to Julian. A short time later came sisters Leah and Casey. The Amicos got the call that the girls needed a home the night before Christmas 4 years ago.
I call them my Christmas Eve babies. I think we knew we had the capacity to take 2, so it was a good fit for us.
And then came baby number 5. Kendra gave birth to baby Magnolia.
Alex came before the baby.
At the age of 17, Alex was getting kicked out of a group home with nowhere to go. The Amicos took him in so he could graduate from Boone High School. Now he's in college.
So he's been part of the fam, not, officially adopted. He's 20 now and, whatever.
It's complicated.
Yeah, that's up to them now. But he's part of our family.
And what does the future hold? Are you capping it at 6 or what?
I'm not birthing any more children.
But they are not ruling out more foster children.
Definitely the older kids are on our hearts because the older kids are the ones that don't get placed in families. In Orange, Osceola, and Seminole, there's 170 kids in group homes.
The Kingdom Church in Orlando spreading a lot of cheer this year. For the past several months, they've been going home to home, handing out $1,000 each week. And you never know just how big of an impact a small act of kindness can make. I'm introducing you to a woman who is fighting breast cancer and the AC repairman who is paying it forward in her time of need.
And we want to present you with
a $1,000 check. We want you to.
The tears started flowing even before Pastor Deron Dixon could get all the words out.
You okay?
For Leanne Ming, this check is an answer to her prayers.
We want you to open it up, look at it, read it for yourself.
Maybe 10 minutes before they showed up, I was just talking to my dad about my mortgage. I was like, I can't do this right now, you know, and I was totally stressing out. Literally 10 minutes later, they came and rang my doorbell.
I know you've been through a lot, and we just wanted to just show our love.
At the age of 41, Leanne was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. She had to take a leave of absence from work to have a double mastectomy and undergo chemotherapy. As a single mom, money got extremely tight.
I'd gone through my savings at that point, and then I had gotten the letter from my mortgage company saying that my mortgage was going up. So I was literally like looking at my bank account thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to make it to pay my other bills when they come up? I was at that point. When I got that, man, it kept me out the hole. It kept me afloat.
I'm surprised that I didn't start crying.
Travis Passmore nominated Leanne for the Kingdom Church's Paying It Forward blessing. He is her AC repairman. And the last time she called him to come fix her unit, he could tell she was going through a difficult time. And he knew he just had to do something.
I kind of knew that she probably would hug me, but I was like, social distance.
He's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Thank you for thinking of me.
The Kingdom Church in Orlando started giving out $200 a month. A group of anonymous donors saw what they were doing and gave them $40,000 so they could increase the amount to $1,000 and bless people like Leanne every week.
We want to continue to impact lives and help the people as much as we can, as long as we can, and that's the goal for us.
We know your story, we heard it, and we want to let you know we love you and we'll keep you in our prayers and we'll be a blessing for you. Oh, God bless you.
She is so sweet. And another cancer survivor also thankful for the generosity of others. Nastasia Lewis lost her job, home, and car in the process of beating cancer. But she remains strong for her daughter and for all of the other people who are also suffering.
I would put my makeup on every day and go in the radiation center at Orlando Health, and I would be hugging and kissing on patients. Mind you, this is before COVID. I would make sure I put my face on just to make them feel good and go in there intentionally and make them smile.
Church surprising her and making her smile this time. Coming up next, how a local woman is paying it forward to foster children, one bicycle at a time. And without a job, one woman is paying it forward to others. But the tables are turned when she finds herself on the receiving end of a blessing.
Get up to date without lifting a finger. Say, Alexa, give me the news, and get the latest stories right from the news station. Just activate the Fox 35 News skill in the Alexa app.
Welcome back. For months now, the Kingdom Church has been going around handing out $1,000 checks. It's becoming their routine. But one week, they had a surprise no one expected.
You know how it goes. We knock on someone's door and we surprise them with a $1,000 check.
It's a paying it forward story with an unexpected twist.
I'm still shocked.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Maharet Teku's friend, David Mitchell, nominating her for the Kingdom Church's Paying It Forward blessing after seeing other stories on Fox 35.
Today you were nominated by this gentleman right here to receive a $1,000 check, and we wanted to come and be a blessing in your life.
I don't believe it.
And we want you to look at it, open the check, open it up, look at it for yourself. It has your name, right?
Yes.
All right.
I opened it and seen it. I'm like, wow, like, this is for real.
can't believe that she actually was chosen.
But what was even more surprising is what happened next.
So now listen, I'm going to do something really unique today because David has no idea. David nominated you for a blessing while David has been furloughed from his job as well. And so guess what, David? On today, I want to come forward and I want to bless you with a $1,000 check made out to you because you thought about somebody in the midst of your time.
That's right, Maharet and David both receiving $1,000.
Did you in a million years think they were going to have a check for you too?
Of course not. Not one little bit. Not even.
David was furloughed from his job as a cook, but even though he was struggling, he was more concerned about Maharet.
Well, I'm a single mother, and, you know, I've been through a lot. I'm sorry about the tear up.
Oh, it's okay.
She has been out of work since a bad car crash 3 years ago.
I don't talk much about, you know, my problems because I feel like if you can put a smile on someone else's face, you know, that's just a joy in my heart.
Yeah, that's just her character. She just likes to help people. I mean, like, people walking down the street around, she'll give them a water, like if they're old and stuff. That's just her. She's just a real, like, she's passionate about people.
You know, and help people to know that the church care about the community. And so the whole idea is pay it forward. And so if we can do it, we want others to do it for others, to continue to pay it forward, to be a blessing in this time.
That message heard loud and clear.
There's people out there who care.
I want to say thank you so much, just even taking the time out to consider me. And you guys are doing a wonderful job, and God bless every single one of you guys.
Now to a woman who wanted to help others, all while needing help herself.
Are you serious?
What a surprise it was for Katia Kao.
You can see my face kind of go like, wait a minute, what's happening here?
Katia nominated 3 people for the Kingdom Church's Pay It Forward $1,000 blessing, including her own mother.
She was working at the convention center, and so that was one of the first places that shut down.
She thought Pastor Duran Dixon was here because one of her nominees was selected, but instead,
we decided to be a blessing in her life, and she has no idea that we are getting ready to bless her.
We want to present you with a $1,000 check.
Oh my God, this is such a blessing. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. That's crazy. You got me. You really got me.
As Katia was nominating other people, what she did not say is that her own life had also taken an unexpected turn.
I recently lost my job. It's been a month. I'm a physical therapist.
And with 2 little boys in daycare, making ends meet has not been easy for her and her husband.
To go down from 2 salaries to 1, it's a scary thought. It's a very uncomfortable place to be when there's not that many jobs available.
But she keeps the faith, hoping things will eventually turn around, and at the same time, actively trying to help others. And she's not the only person who has lost their job and still nominated someone else to receive the $1,000 gift. In our last Paying It Forward story, you saw David Mitchell nominate his friend, even though he was furloughed from his job.
Here are people who are wanting to bless somebody else, and in doing so, believing that, you know, as they're being blessing to someone, blessings will come back to them. They had no way of knowing it. So, yeah, that's a phenomenal thing. Yeah.
And that's what selfless giving is all about.
You have been a blessing to many, and so we just wanted to pay it forward to you, and we know that you will continue to pay it forward to others. All right.
I know we're not supposed to hug. I will still continue to nominate. Yeah. But I'm truly blessed to be a recipient.
Well, some people believe in angels on Earth, but I'm introducing you to a fairy on Earth, a bike fairy who's paying it forward and putting smiles on children's faces.
You know, just seeing the joy on kids' faces, by the hundreds, by the thousands, like, does it get any better than that?
It all started with one bike. Kathy Downs was looking for a bicycle for a foster child she was spending time with.
I had a case with a 9-year-old girl, and I wanted to get a bike for her because I'm a cyclist, and I wanted that to be one of our visitation activities.
Someone donated a used bike. She fixed it up, and then
the bikes kept coming. So we started hosting events, and it's a thing now.
Yeah, it's a thing, all right. Over the past 3.5 years, the Bike Fairy has given away up to 3,000 bikes to foster children in Central Florida. She and her partner, Victor Thacker, fix them up and give them to foster kids for free, along with helmets and locks.
I'm a believer that God put all of this together because the bikes never stop. I come home, there's just bikes on my front porch.
Her garage is filled with bikes. She's held multiple bike giveaways, and for kids in the foster system who are going through what is possibly the worst time in their lives, a bike brings happiness.
Some of them never had a bike. Some of them are at a place where they're having to borrow or share a bike. And the fact that they can just choose one, it's just joy.
I think it's amazing.
Chris Martinez is with Embrace Families, which oversees the foster care system in Orange, Osceola, and Seminole counties. He knows how difficult life can be for kids who have been removed from their families, homes, and friends and placed into foster care.
It's very, very traumatic.
For older children like Davion, who are aging out of the foster care system, it can be even more difficult. Davion needed help getting to and from work, so Chris reached out to Kathy.
I put something on Nextdoor, and a really wonderful family found a brand new bike for him, bought it, brought it over.
In a time where there's so much division and angst in our general society, to see somebody still willing to give back and that their heart is in the right place on a professional and personal level is just super refreshing.
The Bike Fairy hopes to grant even more wishes, but it will take some help from people in the community willing to pay it forward.
You know, I wish there would be some real estate that I could get a hold of to just store a couple of 100 bikes. And, you know, the bigger wish would be that we didn't find kids in this situation.
True. Well, if you would like to help foster children here in Central Florida, Embrace Families is hosting a holiday fundraiser. They're collecting money to buy gifts for the children and provide meals for foster families. We have all the details on fox35orlando.com. Coming up next on Fox 35 News, a pay it forward that kept on giving even after our story aired.
And I just wish you so much happiness as a family.
After years of waiting, a couple is spending the holidays as a family of 3, thanks to Fox 35.
Get today's stories right in your email. Stay on top of news happening now. Sign up for the Fox 35 News lunch break. Go to fox35orlando.com.
Finding help in unlikely places. In this next piece, I'll show you how neighbors are helping neighbors during this pandemic.
We're about to do another one of our pay it forward blessings.
The Kingdom Church in Orlando paying it forward again.
Howard?
Yes, what's up?
How you doing?
Oh, pretty good.
Howard Reynolds, nominated by his neighbor, Reginald Bonnaby.
You were nominated by that guy right there.
Really?
And, and so we've come today to present you with $1,000 check, and we want you to open it up and look at it for yourself. So,
that's sure gonna help. I was just stunned. I couldn't, I'm basically speechless.
I just think that he's a great person. I think that he's a hard worker.
Howard retired from his job as a surveyor 2 years ago.
I would watch him come home and he would have that gear on, that backpack, park his truck, And it just, trying to get from the truck to the house, I was like, wow, he must have had a rough day.
He always hoped that after retirement, he could work part-time, doing something a little less strenuous.
Being a senior, people are reluctant to hire the elderly at this point. And not only that, there's a lot of people that are out of work that's looking for employment.
Watching him for the last few years, just trying to, make ends meet, find employment, things of that nature, I just felt that how wonderful would it be to be able to nominate him for a blessing, something that could just help him, be sustained for a little bit.
We realized a lot of people in our context were struggling, and we just wanted to make sure the church could be a light in regards to extending the hands of Jesus and being the hands and feet of Jesus sometimes is by meeting people at their greatest need.
And Reginald hopes even more blessings are in Howard's future.
My prayer is for Mr. Howard is that, if he still feels vibrant enough and strong enough to get him a employment, Home Depot, Lowe's, or anywhere that he, something that can just help him as he goes forward in life. I'm just hoping and praying that someone will open up a door for him, an opportunity to just, hire him, because the man wants to work. He's a hard worker.
Neighbors looking out for neighbors, setting an example for us all, that even in these difficult times, paying it forward with love and generosity can bring us all a little closer.
God bless you so very much, man.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
And we wrap up this Paying It Forward special with a follow-up to one of our stories. Back in April, we introduced you to Roderick and Recelia McKinney. They've been trying for years to have a baby. Now the couple is finally spending their holidays as a family of 3.
Meet Regan Madison.
Oh, you guys, she is absolutely gorgeous.
I call it really a whirlwind of a God story.
Her parents have been hoping and praying for her for 12 years.
Just a sense of joy that I've never felt before, other than in 2008 when my first daughter was born.
We may not have had Regan Madison had we not been on Fox 35 News, so we're very grateful.
After getting married, they tried to have a baby for 4 years. Recelia finally getting pregnant, but her pregnancy was difficult. Baby Reese was born at just 25 weeks. Their first daughter was only in their lives for 2 short days.
It is completely devastating.
The couple deciding to adopt, saving up money for years. But being educators, coming up with 30 grand is not easy. Their friend nominating them for the Kingdom Church's Pay It Forward blessing.
We want to present you with our Pay It Forward blessing of $1,000.
Are you serious?
I want you to open it up and look at it. You open it and see it for yourself.
But none of us had any idea what would happen next. Someone saw the story and reached out, offering to help.
It actually was someone saying, we know of someone who is almost due and wants to give their child up for adoption. And we were just like...
Their prayers finally answered. After the story aired on Fox 35 News, the McKinneys brought their baby girl home.
Thank God for just blessing us with Reagan, and also for you all covering the story.
Yes.
And for the Kingdom Church and that connection.
Congratulations, one, and just let them know that we look forward when all of this is over, when we get back to some sense of normalcy. We want to make sure we get a chance to see their bundle of joy and be there to definitely say congratulations personally.
To see you two just brings tears to my eyes. To see you three, all 3 of you together. It's so beautiful. And I just wish you so much happiness as a family.
Thank you. And thank you all so much again.
Gorgeous family. Well, to watch all of my Paying It Forward stories, just go to our website, fox35orlando.com. We also have a link there if you want to nominate someone for the Kingdom Church's $1,000 blessing.
You're taking a live look at New York City Macy's Herald Square, where the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade is just now beginning. You can see the floats are just now starting to take off. This has been a tradition for many years, guys, and there was some speculation as to whether this parade would continue this year due to the coronavirus. So I'm sure that many people around the country are glad to see this being live streamed on platforms across the nation. Now, the Macy's Parade has been a traditional holiday seasonal kickoff for more than 90 years, to be exact, and spectators often line up a half dozen deep along the route to cheer on about 8,000 marchers, 24 floats, entertainers, and marching bands. Now, at last year's parade, the big fear was high wind. This time, of course, the pandemic is making the crowd size a lot less attainable, but that's okay, because also this year, the 2.5-mile route through Manhattan has been scrapped in favor of concentrating events to a 1-block stretch. So that's a big cutback. Of course, all to keep people safe during COVID-19. Also, many performers have been pre-taped, and most of the parade's performers will be locally based instead of out of town to cut down on travel. So let's just enjoy this view for a bit, you guys. Some of our audience will see a quick break. And this picture is brought to you courtesy of EarthCam. News now from Fox's Daytona Everett recently caught up with a New York City therapist on why we should all be grateful and how it can affect your physical health as well this holiday season. Some of our viewers will see a quick break. For others, we're going to dive right into the next story from Daytona Everett right here on News Now from Fox.
Democracy. Elizabeth, hello.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's no secret the holidays are right around the corner, and some of those conversations about politics are likely to hit the dinner table. Do you have recommendations on how to go about those conversations peacefully?
Yeah, well, so I want to tell you a story from the book. There's a young woman named Katie Fahey, and when she was 26 years old during the 2016 election, and she was terrified for Thanksgiving because her family was really divided politically, and she just thought, that the dinner would break out into a partisan brawl. And so she decided to bring up at the dinner table this whole idea of gerrymandering and just ask her family, do you think that politicians should be drawing voting district maps, or should citizens be drawing voting district maps? And it started a whole debate and discussion among her family. And she posted something on Facebook and said, hey, does anyone want to work on fixing gerrymandering in my state of Michigan? And her family and friends and lots of other people in the state rallied together and collected signatures, got a measure on the ballot, and it passed in Michigan. Actually, not this election, but in the last election, it passed an anti-gerrymandering measure. So what I take from that is that there are actually a lot of things that we as Americans agree on. We agree on one person, one vote. We agree on equal access and equal voice in our elections. And so we can talk about things like, who should be drawing voting district maps? What should we do about all the Americans who are not registered to vote? How can we make voting as easy and as accessible and secure as possible? And these are things that we can discuss across political spectrums. And in fact, there's a lot of support across both Democrats and Republicans for a lot of the reforms that I talk about in You Call This Democracy. 70 to 80 to 90% of Americans support a direct election of the president, and that's equal numbers of Republicans and Democrats. Most Americans want citizens to be drawing voting district maps. Most Americans want all people registered to vote. And so, I think it's a time, instead of talking about particular candidates, maybe talk about how we can make our elections function more smoothly and better represent the will of the people.
It's kind of a tough time right now. A lot of people are frustrated with one thing or the next. Do you have a message of hope to all the people who are sitting at home feeling down on where the country is at right now?
Yeah. Well, with all the challenges that we faced this year with the pandemic and unrest, we were still able to come together as a nation, and millions, record numbers of Americans voting and having a say in our democracy. And that really matters. Our democracy thrives when we are involved, and we came out and raised our voices, and that's good. And we should continue to do that, not just in a presidential election year, but in other elections ahead, and also raise our voices in between elections, because our democracy is created by us and maintained by us. And we are the ones who can make it work smoothly.
I am feeling inspired right now.
Good.
Is there anything else you want to add, Elizabeth?
I think the only thing I want to add is I'm also very interested in young people and their engagement in the election. They also came out in record numbers, young people did. And I would like to see us really capitalize on that and continue to engage young people in civics. My book, You Call This Democracy, and the democracy website, youcallthis.com, are kind of a all-in-one civics course. You can learn about how our democracies work right now, what we could do to improve them, how you can get involved. And I really hope that parents and teachers, really engage young people in discussions about our democracy, even when this election is over, because young people are our future, and they're going to be the ones who make sure that our democracy works the best that it can.
Love that. All right, Elizabeth Rush, thank you for joining us here on News Now from Fox. Of course, you can go get her book, You Call This Democracy? Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Daytona Everett for that update. Now, cities around the country are ramping up restrictions due to a surge in coronavirus cases. We're going to bring you all to Austin, Texas for the latest COVID-19 update and what people that are visiting the city can do to stay safe this Thanksgiving. We're having some audio issues with this story, you guys. We'll be sure to bring it to you a bit later. For now, we're going to check in with News Now from Fox's Regina Gonzalez for the latest on the history of the modern day turkey. So let's check in.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us on News Now from Fox on this Thanksgiving Day. I wanted to bring you a special interview regarding some facts behind the birds you will all be chowing down on today. I am joined by expert Dr. Julie Long from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, who is here to tell us all about them. How are you, Dr. Long? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm well.
Well, let's get started right away. So first of all, can you really tell me, myself and the viewers, because I'm not a turkey expert, the history of the modern turkey breed?
It's actually a very interesting history and one that folks probably don't fully appreciate or realize. So everybody knows that we have wild turkeys running around the countryside. And many folks probably think that those are where our modern day turkeys came from, when in fact, the history of the domesticated turkey actually dates back to America. The birds were domesticated there. And when the Spanish conquerors came over in the 16th century, they saw these big, beautiful birds. And then at that time in Europe, they weren't eating anything that was as big as a turkey. So when they saw these birds, they took them back to Europe. And during the next 100 years, it was actually the Europeans who developed a lot of different turkey breeds. And when the Pilgrims came over in 1600 and settled at Jamestown, they brought domesticated turkeys with them on their ships. So when they landed on the shores and they saw these wild turkeys, it was quite a shock because the turkeys that they knew were the ones that they had grown in Europe.
Very interesting. Now, when did we start eating turkeys, specifically even for the Thanksgiving holiday?
So that did start. Eating turkeys for the Thanksgiving holiday did start. The birds were, as I said, the birds were in the wild, and most likely the original birds that folks were using for the Thanksgiving dinner derived from the European breeds. However, as time progressed, there were turkey breeds that were developed in the United States, which did incorporate some of the wild turkeys into those breeds. So eventually it did make it into our food supply, but it didn't start that way.
Gotcha. Now, Can we differentiate between the fact and fiction regarding wild and domesticated turkeys? Are they the same? Are they different? Talk to me about that.
So genetically, technically speaking, they are the same because they all come from the same species. So the species is Milagros gallopavo. Interestingly, gallopavo is Latin for the term chicken peacock. So that's what it actually means as a species name. The birds are very different when you would look at a wild turkey next to a commercial turkey, because a domesticated bird is often going to look different from the wild bird. Some of the most different features that we notice are the coloration of the bird. So the commercial birds are all white. Their feathers are completely white. Whereas if anyone has seen a turkey in the wild, you know that they have very fancy colored plumage. Wild turkeys also can fly. They don't fly long distances, but they can fly pretty fast. And at night they do roost in trees. So there are often anecdotes of people who come upon a group of turkeys who get startled and fly up. They're not very good flyers because they're such big birds. The commercial birds, however, because of their larger stature, they do not fly. So that is one difference between the birds. Another difference would be, I mentioned feather color. Most folks don't understand that when there are colored feathers, there's a pigment at the bottom of the feather. So if someone were to dress a wild bird and you pluck the bird, you might have dark spots on the meat. And that's simply because there's a little bit of pigment left over from the feather. Nothing is wrong with the meat. However, dark spots could be a little unsettling to folks when they go to pick up that meat at the supermarket. So by having an all white bird, there's no pigment, therefore there's no discoloration of the skin at all. And that's primarily the reason that our birds all have white feathers.
Wow. Now, speaking of, you mentioned people cutting into the meat, eating turkey. There's definitely been some news about the demand for smaller turkeys this year due to COVID-19 keeping large gatherings from happening. So are there smaller breeds compared to bigger breeds? I see that you know a lot about the Beltsville small white breed. So can you discuss that a little?
Certainly. The history behind the Beltsville small white is also very interesting. Back in the 1930s, there actually were surveys conducted of the households, because most of the turkeys that were being consumed at that time were medium-sized to large birds, and they were pretty skinny. They didn't have a lot of meat on the bird. So there was an interest for a smaller bird that could actually fit into an apartment-sized refrigerator or oven that had more meat on it. And so researchers at the USDA began to develop this breed. They started in 1934 at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. And within a couple of years, they crossed 6 different breeds of turkeys to come up with the Beltsville small white. It's a very small bird. The females weigh anywhere between 8 to 10 pounds. The males, which are called toms, they weigh anywhere between 14 to 17 pounds, which is much smaller than a wild bird or even the birds that we eat on Thanksgiving. So these birds being so small, they took off in popularity. They actually were one of the few birds that were in the grocery stores. They actually said Beltsville turkey on the label, which is something pretty interesting. Because most other turkey breeds don't show up on the label of the bird in the grocery store. So these birds were very popular for about a decade. And then with the popularity of turkey also grew the popularity of the restaurant trade. And so, you know, restaurants and hotels, folks that were serving turkey were, they wanted to get more slices out of the breast meat. And so there was another breed that was developed called the broad-breasted white. And that bird is much bigger. That's the bird that we eat today. And when that bird was developed in the 1960s, the Beltsville small white, unfortunately, the demand for that waned. And that breed actually is considered to be very rare. There are only 2 or 3 populations of the birds in the United States that we can feel fairly confident relate back to the original breed. So it's interesting in this day and age that now we might be thinking again about smaller birds, because that is a bird which does fill that niche. It's a smaller bird, but it still has a lot of meat for a smaller family gathering.
So if families are eating and buying smaller turkeys, are they technically eating a Beltsville white breed?
No, they're actually not, because that bird is not in the commercial sector at this time. So the way the industry has adjusted for being able to have smaller birds would be to simply have a younger age at market, because the bird would be smaller at that time. So that would be how we would have smaller birds available for Thanksgiving.
Got you. Now, you mentioned turkeys in stores. Going off of this thought, the demand just for turkeys around the nation in general, eating them, and then Thanksgiving. Talk to me about the reproduction of turkeys.
That's also something which most people don't realize. So the birds that we currently consume for Thanksgiving, everybody knows that the favorite part of the bird would be that large, beautiful breast meat, right? Unfortunately, the size of that actually interferes with normal reproduction in turkeys. So the turkeys are produced by a process known as artificial insemination. And that's how all of our turkeys in the commercial industry are produced.
Wow. Now, going off of that, the turkey genome, people can joke around and say a turkey is a big chicken. Explain the turkey genome to us.
Sure. So I actually often like to say that a turkey is definitely not a big chicken, because there are substantial differences in the physiology and habits of the two birds. So with the advent of sequencing genomes for major agricultural species, the chicken was actually one of the first ones where the genome sequence was developed. The turkey did not actually come along until 2010, where the USDA, in collaboration with Virginia Polytech and University of Maryland, collaborative effort, we sequenced the turkey genome, which gives us valuable genetic resources for research and being able to develop a better bird for the industry. So knowing what the genetic code is of the turkey is going to help us improve the bird quite a bit.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for these incredible facts. Dr. Long, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I just wish everybody happy and safe.
Some really interesting information on how the modern day turkey kind of got intertwined to the Thanksgiving holiday and tradition. So a huge thank you to Regina Gonzalez for that update. If you're just now joining us, my name is Rain Augustine, and this is News Now from Fox, live, raw, and unfiltered, non-stop news. So a very happy Thanksgiving to all of you all who are watching at home. Some of our viewers will now see a quick break. For others, we're going to take things to Los Angeles County, where because of a surge in coronavirus cases, they're amping up restrictions on bars and restaurants. But it seems like the community is not too happy about that. So we're going to check in with our sister station, Fox 11, for the updates right here on News Now from Fox.
11 News Special Report.
And good evening. Welcome to this Fox 11 News Special Report on this Thanksgiving Eve. I'm Alex Michaels.
And I'm Dr. Drew Pinsky.
In 3 hours, in-person dining closes in L.A. County. Some restaurant owners fighting back. Others are giving up. Phil Schuman live for us tonight with more. Phil.
That's right, a tough night. Some restaurant owners are hiring lawyers, filing lawsuits, others enlisting the support of business leaders, chambers of commerce, trying to force the county to reconsider this drastic decision, in their words. Other restaurant owners say, you know what, they just can't fight any longer. For 7 years, locals filled the outdoor tables at the El Segundo Beach Cafe. The owners weathered the last COVID-mandated shutdown, but this time There's no money left to pay the bills or the 7 employees.
Very tough day, yeah. It's bittersweet, kind of. Well, everybody's coming out to support us, but we're still closing down.
Such a great spot out here and a very loyal following. And it's really sad to see a place like this go.
Far from the coast, the owner of the iconic Abbey in West Hollywood is sad too, but he's vowing to fight back.
We're more than just a restaurant. We're a safe place for people.
It's by now a familiar story. Owners spend tens of thousands to set up outdoors, to comply with cleaning and safety protocols. They cut staff, only to be forced to shut down again without, they say, clear science to justify it.
We are seeing a government who doesn't have the answers. We get that. But you are arbitrarily making decisions affecting people's lives.
Right now, the closure is for 3 weeks, but we know that it will extend through New Year's. And it will probably put me out of business forever, like many other small businesses.
Emotional moments at the Abbey in West Hollywood, Drew and Alex. And now Dr. Barbara Ferrer, County Public Health Director, and the Medical Director of the county, Montu Davis, now they concede that contact tracing cannot attribute the spike in COVID to outdoor dining. However, they said it's the only retail establishment that's open where people spend extended periods of time without their masks on. That's their motivation, their rationale for taking this controversial action.
Phil, one of the things that you reported on earlier is this idea that they want there to be more relief for the restaurant industry, basically saying to the government, hey, if you're going to shut us down, you got to help us out when we're unemployed. What do they want? Tell us a little more about that.
Well, there's a coalition to reopen, a group of business leaders that spoke out today, and one of the things they're asking for is that a statewide task force that'll look at best practices once the restaurants reopen, how to keep them open. But in the meantime, they want the state to set up an emergency worker interruption fund to help both restaurant owners and also the employees. The city of West Hollywood, for example, where we were today, said that they spent 7 figures out of their own reserves to help employees and business owners, and they think that something much larger scale should be done statewide. Of course, federal money isn't coming anytime soon, like the PPP we had during the first shutdown.
And Phil, I have to say that this logic that we don't have scientific evidence, but we're going to do it anyway, is sad in the face of the fact that there are other things that is evidence-based they could be doing. They could be doing proper health messaging. They could be doing contact tracing. They could be doing localized lockdowns. There's lots of things they could be doing if they were improvising a little bit or had better judgment. I just keep saying the same thing. Same people that closed our parks, same people that told us we couldn't lie on the beach, same people that closed the horse trails. Right. Those were horrible decisions, and this will not look good in the history books.
When you're right, and I don't think that Dr. Ferrer and her colleagues would necessarily disagree with you. But again, they're looking at a drastic spike in numbers, the threat to the hospital system they keep talking about, not just hospital beds, but whether there's enough staffing should those hospital beds fill up. And they're saying, look, you're at a restaurant, even though you're outdoors, you don't have your mask on, that spreads COVID. We're going to take action where we can, something we can control.
Again, except no evidence that they're spread. Zero evidence that they're spreading there. They're declaring spread, much as they did on Labor Day at the beach. Zero evidence, and locked us down anyway. And it has had such a profound effect on our mental health and financial health. I cannot stand it.
I mean, the point is that there may not be enough evidence to say that it's worth locking down. But if you do have a bunch of people that aren't in the same family, all sitting together closely at a table, talking, laughing, spitting potentially, I mean, isn't that not create an environment where there could be spread?
Alex, your point,
that's a different point than saying it's so much evidence that we got to shut it down.
What I'm saying, what I'm saying is, Alex, yes, that looks like a candidate for where there could be trouble. Let's go study it. Oops, no evidence. There's no evidence that anything's happening there.
Right.
Zero. So although it looks like something, nothing there.
Phil.
But while you study it, people are getting sick and people are dying.
Not from this, though.
And
Not from this. They are. You're right. They've got to do something.
Leaders feel like they need to take action.
Well, something more efficacious, I would say. But anyway.
It is interesting, though, that L.A. County is the only county in all of California that is deciding to do this. Because they do not have special LA data, which they point out. They're using a CDC study that's available to everybody, and they are the only health department that has determined that this is worthwhile.
Watch Pasadena. See how we do there. I mean, there's a perfect case example, and if next week or 2 weeks things are still going down in Pasadena, maybe you want to follow suit.
Yeah. All right, Phil. Thank you for your reporting all week.
You're watching News Now from Fox. My name is Rain Augustine. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. Very important day. Traditionally, this is a time that we all spend quality time with friends and family members. So if you are choosing to travel and see your loved ones, make sure that everyone is staying safe this holiday season. Now, tomorrow is Black Friday. This is one of the largest shopping days of the year, but our sister station Fox 13 in Tampa wants to make sure that you are aware of possible scams this season. So some of our audience will see a quick break. For others, we're going to continue to listen in right here on News Now from Fox.
The fake Black Friday and Cyber Monday websites have popped up this month because cyber criminals all over the world are getting ready to try to steal your money while you shop. That's not a comforting thought, is it? But this could bring you some relief here. Consumer reporter Surbani Banerjee is joining us with what we should watch out for. And yes, Surbani, they're making their plans, so we need to be wary, right?
Yeah, making their plan and making their fake websites between November 1st and the 20th of this month. 30 million new websites were registered. So a cybersecurity research team, they decided to set out and scan them to look for signs of phishing and scams. Comparatech researchers, they filtered domains by keywords to narrow their search. And what they found are more than 250,000 new site domains had a word related to holiday shopping. So things like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, along with popular store brands and websites. Now, of those domains that they scanned, 5,466 were identified as potentially dangerous. So yeah, Chris, we trimmed down that million number to 5,000 potentially dangerous sites, but that's a lot out there if you're not on guard.
That is still a lot out there that anyone could stumble across. What are some of the warning signs that they found when they were doing this?
What they did is they cross-referenced the sites against phishing databases of known scam sites, so a collection of ones that are troublesome. The researchers also looked for links to phishing and scam sites on social media. And during this busy shopping season, scammers will set up original sites with all sorts of tempting deals and rewards that they then pose on social media as legit businesses and try to get you to click on the malicious links to those sites in that way.
Okay, was not aware of that one, that they'll actually go through social media now to get to people. Did they find some examples of that?
Yeah, there was one, for example, that required users earn 100 points to get a free iPhone, a laptop, or a smart TV. It sounded good, right? You'd earn those points by taking a quiz, and then you would share it with others, the link on social media. So basically, for every share, you then got 10 points. They were making you do their dirty work for them. Then look at this. Check out all of these variations on a website advertising NBA and NHL jerseys. All of them were created new at the same time and registered in the same country, Turkey, just days before November 15th. Now, at this point, they've since been taken down, but you can see sites are made so quickly and so sloppily. Some of them didn't even fill in an actual address when you go to contact them. It's just a template. Your address goes here. You can easily run a whois search on whois.net. So basically, you go whois.net, you type it in, and it'll tell you if it's a very new site. That is a red flag. By now, other than that, you know what to do, right? Don't click on links and attachments from unsolicited emails. Always, always check the website URLs for any weird long chains, any typos, and then only buy from reputable vendors that have contact information you can verify. It's just worth those extra steps at this point.
It really is, and you give us these tips and warnings every year, but it seems like there's always some twist that they put on it that unfortunately finds its way to a new victim. So let's hope everyone is vigilant out there as they do their holiday shopping online. Thank you, Surbani. Have a happy
Thanksgiving. And we move fast. Yeah. We're doing it on our phones.
Yeah.
It's easy to make mistakes.
Sure is. Let's hope none are made this time around. Thank you, Surbani. Happy Thanksgiving.
There you have it. If you are taking advantage of any Black Friday sales or specials, you can always visit whois.net to make sure that you're buying from a reputable online seller. Now, switching gears, we're going to take you all to Orlando. Fox 35 is giving us a wonderful Thanksgiving special, so we're going to check in on that right here on News Now from Fox.
Hey, Orlando.
Right now on Fox 35 News, people taking to the skies this holiday season, planes filling up all the seats once again. Now there's a new question. Who owns those armrests? And with most Americans saying they will be doing most of their shopping online, the potential for scammers to get your information is at an all-time high. Plus, with online shopping comes those online scams, what you can do to avoid a phony sale. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andrea Jackson. A lot of people shopping online this holiday season. Some deals popping up on social media, and experts say you need to be on high alert for any shopping scams. Scams spiking this year on smartphones, email, and social media feeds. Thanks to COVID, we've become a captive audience and a target for scammers. Scrolling through your Facebook feed, you've likely seen a few items catch your eye.
I've certainly been drawn and purchased a couple of things off of Facebook on the social media feed. I mean, and luckily they've arrived, but not everybody's having the same kind of experience.
I think there's an inherent sense of security when we go on Facebook that somehow when we're getting these feeds, that they've been vetted.
Marketing professor Dr. Mark Johnston says it's easy for consumers to let their guard down when these ads are mixed in with trusted friends. This Facebook user was shopping for a stroller when an ad popped up on her page for an expensive model at a deep discount. She followed the link provided and read some reviews.
Shows up as a secured site. It shows up as 51 reviews, and they're all great. A month later, no confirmation, no tracking number. When I Googled the name of the merchant, it was like so many complaints.
Dr. Johnston always recommends opening up a new page and doing a search before making a purchase.
Check and see if this company has had complaints. Never take what you're seeing on your Facebook page as the only source of information.
The Federal Trade Commission reports 94% of all social media scams happen on Facebook and Instagram. The FTC logged more than 15,000 online shopping complaints in April and nearly 19,000 in May. Consumer losses totaled nearly $120 million in the first 6 months of this year, compared to $135 million for all of 2019.
The bottom line is always be a little skeptical about anything you see that you don't know for sure where it's come from or where that site is.
To report an ad you see on Facebook, look for those 3 dots next to the ad you want to report. Click Report Ad and then follow the on-screen instructions. The Better Business Bureau also has a warning about some other scams on the rise. A new report warns consumers to be aware of .com deals. They truly may be too good to be true, and scammers are using a new trick to dupe people. They're sending fake tracking numbers to buyers. It's important to protect your sensitive information while shopping online, and the experts sharing their top 3 tips to stop scammers from stealing your credit card information. With online shopping expected to reach record numbers this holiday season, a new survey from Bankrate.com reveals 91% of consumers are putting their personal data at risk.
We found that more than 9 in 10 Americans that we surveyed are falling victim to some data security sins. You know, everything from reusing passwords to saving passwords and payment information online.
Ted Rossman is a credit card analyst for Bankrate.com.
I think the point is that your data is probably out there. So what do we do about it? I would argue that it's more important to do the big stuff well.
71% of holiday shoppers plan to make most of their purchases online this year, compared to just 51% last year, creating an increased cybersecurity risk for consumers. So how can you keep fraudsters from stealing your payment information?
Freeze your credit. Check your credit reports regularly. Check your bank and credit card statements. Use one of those password aggregator services like LastPass. These are all really good ways to stay safe.
As credit card companies stay more vigilant, consumers are receiving a record number of fraud alerts this year. Nearly 43% have been false alarms.
Why do you think we are more vulnerable this year than maybe in years past?
Online is really where the fraud has gone these days. In person, we have other tools to protect ourselves, like chip credit cards, but they don't help us online. I think that a lot of us have lowered our defenses. It makes sense. You know, we're distracted by other things like the pandemic, the election, just life in general, but we're not as vigilant.
The FTC reporting email and text phishing scams netted nearly $57 million in 2019, and the amount is expected to spike in 2020.
You get an email from your bank, let's say, maybe you want to call them at a number you trust, like the number on the back of your card. Make sure it's really the bank.
Remember, always be suspicious of any email or text from someone claiming to be with the IRS, a big retailer, or even a delivery service, especially during the holidays. Always go directly to the source to verify the information.
The holiday season also means more people are traveling, and as airlines start selling their middle seats again, the age-old question returns. Who owns the armrests in economy class? And in the age of COVID-19, does it belong to the passenger in the middle seat, or is it a shared space?
You don't know plane etiquette. Window gets an armrest and a wall. Middle gets 2 armrests. Aisle gets an armrest and a little bit of extra legs.
It doesn't get much worse than getting stuck in the middle seat on an airplane. Sometimes there's a silent, awkward battle between two passengers as they jockey for position. Consumer advocate and travel expert Christopher Elliott says as airlines start selling those middle seats again, the space wars will soon follow. And in this age of COVID, claiming the armrest is a top priority for many travelers.
So who owns the armrests when it comes to that middle seat?
That is the million-dollar question, right? I've talked to some experts, and they tell me that the armrests belong to no one. It's a shared space. So you can't say, as some have suggested, since I'm sitting in the middle seat, these are my armrests and no one else can have them.
So if you find yourself in a seat war with a fellow passenger, Elliott offers these tips. Negotiate the space before the flight takes off. Ask to move to a different seat if a pleasant resolution is not possible. And if you can't resolve it, call a flight attendant to help mediate the dispute. This year, some airlines, including Frontier and Spirit, are adding an inch to widen their middle seats. But don't expect the added comfort to come without a cost. Expect to pay extra for these new upgraded, spacious middle seats. The money just might be worth the peace of mind, knowing you won't have a battle of the elbows 35,000 feet in the air.
If you are traveling for the holidays, Orlando International Airport says to expect some crowds. Staff is reminding everyone to wear a mask and social distance. All passengers are allowed to pack a 12-ounce bottle of hand sanitizer in their carry-ons. Spending the holidays away from home, many might be choosing to book a vacation rental this year instead of a hotel. But what if it's not what you expected? Should you just leave?
Most vacation rentals go as planned, but what happens if it doesn't live up to your expectations?
At what point should you leave that vacation rental?
The first thing that you want to do is call the owner or the host. Airbnb owners are called hosts, and tell them what the problem is. Give them a chance to fix it.
Christopher Elliott is a consumer expert and travel writer. His most recent book, How to Be the World's Smartest Traveler. He says some of the most common issues with vacation rentals include not as described, something doesn't work, or the reservation is canceled at the last minute.
Some of the absolute, you're going to definitely want to leave situations are if there's no electricity, for example. If there's no hot water, you can't take a shower.
Elliott says always take photos to support your issues and answer questions from your host or rental site right away.
When should you effectively stick it out?
The property says it has an ocean view and it's an obstructed ocean view, little things like that.
Right.
They promise very high speed internet connection and it's not as high speed as you would have hoped for. Those are really not deal breakers. Those are things that you can work out with the host.
Major deal breakers might include you're locked out, no power or water, or it's not clean or safe.
How do you go about getting a refund?
What I always recommend is getting a paper trail. So make sure that you have something in writing, either text messages through the Airbnb app, or emails.
Remember, you'll need proof to go with your complaint, and most vacation rental sites have a resolution process. So keep all correspondence if you plan on asking for a refund.
Coming up next on Fox 35 News, earning extra money. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3 unique ways you can earn extra cash. Plus, Ikea wants to buy your used furniture. We'll tell you what you can get for it coming up. And later, PPE litter. It is being found everywhere around the globe. How one company is developing new technology to replace those disposable masks. If you're looking to make some extra cash, we've got some great advice for you. We have a few options. Here's how to cash in on counting your steps, your calories, and even a top 10 list. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Do you love a good list? Your top 10 could earn you $100. Listverse.com will turn your mental musings into cash. Here's how it works. You write a list of 10 items, send it, and if they publish it, you get $100. If you want to see what's earning a C note, here's a current sample of some of their top lists. Top 10 facts about hashtags, fascinating facts about classic comedies, and top 10 strangest farms. Is working out and getting in shape always on your personal to-do list? Sweatcoin will offer you money while you walk. Instead of cold hard cash, you earn Bitcoin, which can be exchanged for gadgets, sporting goods, or even PayPal gift cards. Let's say you want a new iPhone. We'll do some Sweatcoin math. You could earn 20,000 Sweatcoins after walking 21 million steps. 1 million walking steps equals about 500 miles. It's like walking from Orlando to Key West. Healthy wage might be more your style since you can earn real cash rewards up to $10,000 for losing weight. They call it a weight loss challenge with cash prizes. You can make it personal, like Kristen, who lost 114 pounds and won $4,000. Or you could take part in a team challenge with coworkers like Randall, who went on to win $1,100 after losing 55 pounds. You could also try the Achievement app. It connects your fitness tech and other healthy apps so you can earn points by walking, eating, even sleeping. It uses surveys, health programs, and online studies tailored to your profile. 10,000 points equals $10 in cash. You can convert your points to cash or donate them to charity. You've heard the saying, talk is cheap, right? But what if someone offered to pay you for your words? Here's how to make money by sharing your 2 cents. Want to make money expressing your opinion? FindFocusGroups.com connects you with online surveys where you can be a part of a focus group. One recently paid $175 for someone to share their views on social media for an hour and a half online. Don't have the time to be part of a focus group? Take surveys. You can share your opinions through sites or apps like Survey Junkie, My Points, Surveys on the Go, Opinion Outpost, Swag Bucks, or Inbox Dollars. Many are used to get feedback on stores.
For example, how their customer service is doing, or if the store is organized and neat.
Most pay between 50 cents and $3. You won't get rich, but it might be a good way to earn some extra spending money. Ready to make your keyboard earn you some extra cash? WriterAccess.com connects writers with blogs, magazines, and other outlets. Your rate is based on experience, skill, and certifications. Prefer to let your smartphone do the talking for you? You could sell your smartphone's data.
And you can earn up to $75 a year just by installing this app and letting it run in the background.
The Smart app collects info on your usage in order to improve apps and websites. If you qualify, you get $5 after the initial download. And if you decide to keep the app, you'll get $5 every month plus extra loyalty bonuses every 3 months. There could also be some extra cash right in your own driveway. Got an RV you're not using right now? Outdoorsy.com is like the Airbnb for recreational vehicles. Dave Fleming bought one and signed up for the service.
It just seemed like a win-win. I get to take great road trips in it, but when I'm not using it, I can rent it out. Another family can take a great road trip, and I can get some passive income.
When Dave's not using his RV, he rents it out for about $445 a night. 90% of RV bookings are first-timers, and according to the company's website, their highest earner wheeled in $1.3 million in just 6 months. If an RV isn't your thing, what about renting your car? The website Turo allows you to rent your car to another driver when you're not using it.
People has been great. They take really good care of my cars if they were there on.
You can use their handy calculator to find out how much you could get for your car. Jeep Wranglers are the most popular on Turo right now. They can earn up to 2.5 times the average monthly car payment. And if renting your car isn't an option, what about your garage? A site called Neighbor.com lets you monetize your garage, shed, attic, or basement by allowing others to use it as storage space. Some people earning around $1,000 a month.
However, a word of caution before you sign up for any of these services. First and foremost, check with your insurance company and make sure you're covered. Use a verified rental platform that offers additional built-in coverage. And do your homework. Be selective about which sites you use and who you're renting to when it comes to this kind of revenue stream.
The pandemic changing our car insurance needs, putting a little extra cash back in our pocket in the form of a discount, refund, or even a credit this year. Some options to look into: you could reduce your coverage to the state minimum or insure your car by the mile, or you could even put your car in storage.
It'll save you about $300 to $500 or as much as 80% of the premium you were paying for that vehicle.
If you know you're going to be late on a payment because of the pandemic, contact your insurer as soon as possible. Moose will work out some kind of plan with you. We have more money-saving tips on our website, fox35orlando.com. Just click on the More tab right at the top of the website there and hit Money. Ikea buying back used furniture. So we looked into how it will work and what the experts think is driving the resale trend.
As resale booms for giant retailers like Walmart, Nordstrom, and Macy's, furniture giant Ikea is the latest big retailer to get into the resale game. You can sell your gently used Ikea furniture back to the store.
The idea behind Ikea's trial of this makes a lot of sense.
Dr. Mark Johnston is the professor of ethics and marketing at Crummer Graduate School of Business at Rollins College.
This whole trend when it comes to these giant retailers going in this resale direction, what are your thoughts?
It's a very interesting trend, and my guess is that what Ikea is doing is looking at some of the ways that used furniture is being sold.
Furniture listings on Facebook Marketplace, for example, have increased nearly 100% since April, which is good news for home decor retailers looking to cash in on the resale market. Here's how Ikea's buyback program will work. Customers with like-new items, meaning no scratches or major wear and tear, can get up to 50% of the original price. Items in good condition with a minor scratch or dent could get up to 40%, and anything well used could get up to 30%. The catch? Products must be returned fully assembled, and customers will get paid in Ikea vouchers with no expiration.
Is there a psychology behind buying secondhand, feeling better about making the purchase, feeling like you can spend more?
The psychology around that is, one, they feel like they're saving money. Two, they may feel like they're being more environmentally sensitive. There's a lot of reasons why people move to more of a secondhand or used market for many of their products.
By 2021, Ikea plans to have a designated area in all of its stores for buyback, resale, and even repair. Ikea's goal? To be climate positive by 2030. Anything that can't be resold will be recycled or donated to charity.
Coming up on Fox 35, PPE and social distancing is now part of our everyday lives. We're going to show you how one company is developing new technology to replace disposable masks and another device to help you keep your distance. A Swiss-based company developing a reusable self-sanitizing mask that attracts and kills microbes, which can cause COVID-19 and the flu. The company says the masks are washable, which will help cut down on disposable mask waste.
From face masks to wipes and gloves, personal protective equipment or PPE waste is a major global concern.
There's 194 billion with a B disposable PPE that is put into the landfills, the waterways, and the oceans every month.
Recognizing the need for masks, companies like Living Guard, a Swiss-based hygiene company with offices here in the U.S., wants to help flatten the PPE waste curve.
The technology comes out of the water filtration, and so it's antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral technology that, well, kills pathogens. We are now applying that technology onto textiles, wipes, other surfaces to mitigate the spread of COVID-19.
The science behind it is based off an ionic charged particle technology.
What we do is we treat surfaces or textiles, for example, with with our chemistry, and that puts a small charge onto the fabric itself, and the viruses, pathogens, bacteria are actually attracted to that, and then they're inactivated when they become in contact with our technology.
With the treated textiles, Living Guard masks and other PPE products can be used in the medical environment and beyond.
For an 8-hour or 24-hour shift, one Living Guard mask would replace 3 disposable masks. And once you start scaling that over the size of a hospital or over the size of a city, the math starts to add up.
The company Living Guard says the masks are washable and can be used for up to 6 months. They say just one of their masks can eliminate 210 single-use disposable face coverings. Another piece of technology out there, it's a new device to help you keep your social distance. It automatically tells you when you get too close to someone else. It's called the Safe Spacer, one of the latest wearable tech products made with COVID in mind. Whenever you come within 6 feet of another person wearing one, it buzzes and beeps. Trendy new electronic baby books are helping new parents keep track of every waking moment. How taking just 60 seconds a day to answer a text can create a beautiful book full of memories. In this age of social media, some new parents are finding it tough to keep track of every waking moment.
Time slipped away and you get so busy. It's easy to forget those tiny, small moments.
Enter the new trend of digital baby books. These electronic scrapbooks pull moments from your smartphone and then store the memories in one location. Keepsake adds a new twist by sending users questions via text.
To date, we've saved over 30 million memories so far, and we've really focused on simplicity through and through.
Jeff McNeil is the co-founder and CEO of Keepsake. The Q in the name for the app stands for the unique question-based service.
We text the parent a question each day, and our questions are chosen based on the age of your child. And you just have to reply back, and that memory gets saved privately and securely.
All your answers and images are stored so you can create a modern-day baby book.
This whole thing about digital scrapbooking seems to be taking off. How did you guys come up with this idea?
My wife and I are parents of 5 young children ourselves, so we're really blessed to have such a large family. But as part of that, we felt this pain point firsthand that there was nobody to help us stay on top of capturing memories about our kids.
So the husband and wife team created this platform to track and store daily memories. Since launching in 2016, more than 500,000 parents use this new digital format to save all of their children's memories.
What kind of cost is involved, Jeff?
Keepsake is free to join and to begin using. On our free plan, you can get 1 question per week to respond to.
Paid memberships start at $50 per year. And when you're ready to compile a memory book, it's priced per page. Consider it the new way to save and store some of life's most cherished moments.
A lot more still to come in our next hour on Fox 35. Stay with us.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for watching News Now from Fox on this Thanksgiving Day. I'm your host, Regina Gonzalez, in for about the next hour. You're taking a live look over Daytona Beach. Look at that sand, look at that ocean. It's a gorgeous day in Florida on Thanksgiving Day, and we are right down the road in Orlando in our brand new studio. You were just watching my co-host Rain Augustine today doing a wonderful job. We are working on this Thanksgiving, but we are happy to be here. We have so many stories and coverage from across the nation here on News Now from Fox, starting with a live picture of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I'm going to take you to New York City right now, courtesy of EarthCam. You are looking down on Herald Square in New York City. A makeshift Thanksgiving Day parade this year due to COVID-19 concerns, but thankfully a show still went on. Rain brought you there before when they were showing confetti, the turkey float, a couple of balloons, not the whole extravaganza. You know, for just shy of a century, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City has been synonymous with the holiday, but this year was like any other, with coronavirus cases spiking across the country. The department store will hold a modified version of the parade, and that is what you just saw. So that's what's going on in New York City. Again, everybody abiding by coronavirus concerns on a very original Thanksgiving of 2020. It's been a very original year for us all. And here at News Now, we are here with you until about 11 in the morning before Mike Page, Daytona Everett, and Andrew Kraft take over on our Phoenix hub. And this week was a very exciting week for our News Now Orlando team. We are in our new studio, which I'm about to show you right here so I can say hello. This is the beauty of News Now from Fox, live, raw, and unedited. I'm going to pull myself up right here. Good morning, everyone. Again, I'm Regina Gonzalez. Happy Thanksgiving from all of us here at News Now from Fox. We have a lot of exciting coverage, stories happening across the country, live, raw, and unedited, just like our show. That's what our show is all about. Like I said, we will be with you for the next hour before our team takes over in Phoenix. But first, we want to bring you all of the Thanksgiving coverage we have happening across the nation, from our own News Now from Fox hosts interviewing several special guests to special coverage of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade like we just showed you. It was an event that was pre-recorded. There were only so many balloons. You saw courtesy of EarthCam right before I popped up on camera. The view of Herald Square, guys, actually, I must tell you, so as you know, I am from New York. I have sat in those very bleachers before when the stands were packed. There were thousands of people in New York City for the parade because I was watching my family. Mom and Dad, if you're watching, happy Thanksgiving. I miss you guys. My father and my cousins have been balloon walkers in the parade for years. They've walked a Dora, they've walked a Smurf, I'm pretty sure. Several different balloons. It's been so exciting to watch. We've been in the stands for the parade. We watched my dad at home, and then he's come home very tired. I think the parade route is typically almost 10 miles, and he had some bad knees. So kudos to him for doing that every single year along with my cousins. Guys, happy Thanksgiving to you. The Macy's Thanksgiving Parade was different this year, and courtesy of our coverage in Fox 5 New York, we want to give you a little explanation on why, what the performers have been doing to get ready for this special day to make it somewhat memorable amid this very original year for all of us, a COVID-19 pandemic. Right after we show you this story, we're going to take you to several different parts of the country where people are still doing their part to volunteer, feed families, and give back on this holiday. So let's take you to Fox 5 New York, where Reagan, their reporter, has an inside look at the preparations happening for this Thanksgiving parade.
Parts that will be pre-recorded and large parts of it will actually be live. But we're treating it like it's a television set. So on a movie set, in any other case in New York City, you'd have frozen areas where you couldn't access so that they can actually properly film the movie. And that's how we're treating this.
All this as organizers ensure the safety for participants as the spread of COVID-19 continues and cases across our area keep rising. Susan Trocero is the executive producer for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and explains you won't see a parade this year or the balloon handlers pulling and tugging at those massive balloons to stay the course. Tractors will be doing the work instead. The 3.5 million spectators won't be lining the 2.5-mile route. Instead, New Yorkers will join the 50 million viewers across the country by watching performances on TV.
This year, when we were looking at local talent and we had certain restrictions we had to, kind of guide ourselves by. And one of those was that we didn't really want to put minors in the parade because we didn't want to put, our children at risk. And we didn't want anyone from out of the tri-state area. So we really had to focus on local talent.
Plus, remember all the other parades that got canceled this year? Well, this will be their time to shine on the national stage, almost as a way of saying thank you for being in this together.
Not only are we allowing them to have a moment that they didn't get this year, but we're also showing the rest of the country what New York City is really all about. It's all about these beautiful cultural groups that come together and come alive. And the city is still very much alive, and it's still very much going to move forward.
All right, everybody, that was the latest on the preparations going into the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, bringing you back to a live look of Macy's Herald Square in New York City, courtesy of EarthCam. It's a shame that it wasn't, you know, they weren't able to put on the whole extravaganza, but it's amazing that they were still able to get a show going, even amid COVID-19 concerns. It takes a huge staff to make that show happen. As you see, Fox 5 New York was talking to the executive producer of the show, who definitely had to change her game plan during this year. It's a little foggy in New York City now, and it just looks so empty as people are inside celebrating Thanksgiving with intimate family. Governor Cuomo sharing his concerns and, you know, pulling back or initiating more restrictions to keep people safe. Now, guys, I must say, I'm from New York City. The day before Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving Eve, is usually even more packed than the Thanksgiving Day Parade. There's people in the streets going out, but amid COVID-19 concerns, bars and restaurants were not seeing the same traffic they did at all. Many restaurants and bars still on a curfew because of several restrictions being re-implemented by state governors, state officials. So let's get the latest from our Fox News team on how bars exactly had to make do on this Thanksgiving Eve. Again, you're watching News Now from Fox, looking live over Macy's Herald Square, courtesy of EarthCam. Anything live, raw, and unedited, we will bring you here. But for now, let's take a look at how bars are making do during this rough time.
Since 1999, this Sobelman's Pub and Grill has been a Milwaukee staple, normally home to a full bar on Thanksgiving Eve.
That afterward party, runs into the early evening party and the late. Tonight, nothing.
This year, the stools are empty. Socially distant tables are set up, but hold no drinks. They're relying on takeout to survive what's already been a challenging year.
How do you stay open and make money, save the business, keep staff employed, at the same time stay open, serve food in a safe environment in the middle of COVID?
We found that even if passing on the bars, Wisconsinites still want alcohol for the holidays, giving liquor stores like Otto's Wine and Spirits a welcome chaser to the tough year.
The day before Thanksgiving is one of our top 3 days. Christmas Eve and around the 4th of July, so it's a busy day.
So they may not be going to the bar or pub to catch up with old friends, but staying home to celebrate however they please.
People are heeding to smaller parties, but they're still in buying items for Thanksgiving and immediate family gatherings.
All right, everybody, that was the latest on how bars coped on Thanksgiving Eve. If you're just tuning into our coverage, happy Thanksgiving. News Now from Fox is a 24-hour stream of breaking news, live events, and stories as they happen across the country. Big stories today about how people are giving thanks on this very, very strange holiday. A lot of COVID-19 restrictions in place, large gatherings not advised in several parts of our nation. But you have to think of the positive, right? Think of everything great you have to be grateful for on this Thanksgiving holiday. Our own Daytona Everett, News Now from Fox host out of Arizona, actually spoke with a therapist in New York City about how you can just sit back, take a minute, and think about what you have to be thankful for on this Thanksgiving. So we're going to take you to that interview with our own Daytona Everett. Again, happy Thanksgiving to you all. Thank you for watching, and we'll take you right to Daytona's interview.
You're watching News Now from Fox. I'm Daytona Everett. I'm joined by Zachary Alty. He's a therapist in New York and definitely an expert when it comes to mental health. Zach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Daytona. Happy to be here.
So it's kind of interesting. It's Thanksgiving and we're talking about being thankful, but a lot of people are having some difficulty being thankful in this time with the pandemic and everything. What are some tips that you have for those who are watching right now to walk into this holiday with a grateful heart?
Yeah, so I think there's several things to be grateful for at any given time, especially during this time. So one of the things that we can really do to help us access gratitude is thinking globally and historically. So thinking globally, I mean, when we consider the tremendous privileges and safeties we have as Americans, clean drinking water, indoor plumbing, safe housing, there's a tremendous amount of things that we all share in common that is really a luxury to a lot of people elsewhere in the world. So I think that's really a huge source of gratitude. Also thinking historically is important. You know, think about the World War II generation or the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, right? I mean, things have been very good in recent history. And so the fact that a pandemic like this is unusual is really something to be grateful for, that this is not a constant state of affairs. This is unusual for us.
Yeah, and how does mental health impact your physical health as well? A lot of people are not feeling good right now, and we need to be up and ready, our bodies feeling as good as they can with this virus spreading so rampantly right now, right?
Sure, yeah. So gratitude is the healthiest thing you can do for your brain, but it's also really impactful on physical health and even your immune response. So there was a 2008 study of the SARS virus, which is very similar to COVID. And they found that unique predictors of trajectories, that means how people did when they got the virus, were improved by things like social support and were harmed by things like virus-related worry. So gratitude will help you to not worry as much. It'll help you to be more supportive and to receive support better from others, which will actually make you better able to fight the virus if you do contract it.
Yeah. What are you thankful for this year for Thanksgiving?
Great question. I mean, I think there's the traditional pieces like family, career. As a therapist, I am really honored by the trust and privilege of helping people to access happiness and feel better, do better in their lives. I'm really grateful to the heroes of healthcare who put their own safety at risk to care for total strangers simply because it's what they do, some of them in my family. And gratitude just for loved ones, for community. I think crisis like this really reminds us why it's important to celebrate every day and share our love with family, neighbors, and friends. It reminds us of how lucky we are and how important it is to take care of ourselves, our community, and our planet.
Are there simple techniques that you can do day by day, even when it's not Thanksgiving, to kind of practice being thankful for the things that you do have? What do you tell your clients out there in New York?
Definitely, that's a great question. So I like to tell my clients to think of 3 things that they're grateful for when they wake up in the morning and 3 things that they're grateful for when they go to sleep at night. And so that's 6 different things each day, right? And it can be difficult at first to think of different things to be grateful for, but you can get really creative. And I think what's really helpful is thinking outside of your bubble. So thinking about people that you don't interact with every day. When we look at social media, when we just think about the people that we come into contact with on a daily basis, it isolates our thinking, right? And it makes it really a lot more difficult to access gratitude. So thinking globally, and I think that's really, really helpful.
Yeah. Mental health is such a tough thing, Are there ways to just de-stress too, even apart from being thankful and having gratitude? Some people can't even get over that hump of being so stressed out to where they almost can't function. Do you have any techniques for that as well?
Yeah. Mindfulness meditation. There's a technique called box breathing. I believe it was developed by the United States Navy SEALs originally, where you inhale for a count of 4, hold your breath for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and hold for a count of 4. So there's 4 parts to it with equal length, right? And you repeat that 4 times, and that will help to calm you. Also, breathing is really a key to calming and to combating anxiety. So inhalations, breaths in, help to mobilize us, to get us awake, to increase energy. Exhales, or breathing out, helps to calm us, soothe us, slow our heart rate. So if you're feeling really anxious, focus on some deep exhales. If you're feeling like you need to get up, if you need to present, or you need to, get alert, then focus on some deep inhales, right?
Yeah. Question, is there a connection between Thanksgiving dinner and mental health and being happy? Specifically stuffing and gravy and mashed potatoes. No? Is that not proven scientifically?
I don't know if there's any scientific studies on that in particular, but my bet would be on the cranberry sauce.
Good to know. Good to know. All right, Zachary, is there anything else you want to add for all the people watching on this Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah, just, to really enjoy the family, even if we're apart, right? A lot of us are remote right now. We're not able to have a traditional Thanksgiving. And I think what's really, really going to be key is thinking about the discomfort that we're paying upfront for the moments of joy we'll have later on. I mean, Thanksgiving's in the future. I imagine we'll all be a lot more grateful because we've had to go through a more difficult one like this.
Yeah, that's so true. There's light at the end of the tunnel. We all have to remember that.
Yes.
All right, Zachary Alty out there in New York, the best therapist around. I feel a lot more de-stressed and excited for Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much, Daytona, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, thank you to our very own Daytona Everett for that wonderful interview. Guys, in these unprecedented times, you really, really have to sit back and think of the positives on this Thanksgiving. I know I may be working, but I am thankful for this wonderful job, this wonderful brand new studio. Shout out to our Orlando team at Fox 35 Orlando, where we are housed in Orlando, who worked tirelessly for almost 2 months to make sure everything in this studio was perfect. I'm thankful for my happy, healthy family who I miss so much today. I miss my mom's cooking. My mom makes the best cranberry sauce and stuffing, and I'm very, very sad to not be able to sit at the Thanksgiving dinner table and eat with them today, but I will be celebrating tomorrow. If you are watching on the platform that has a chat, feel free to share how you are spending this Thanksgiving holiday. Speaking of moms, our sister station Fox 6 Milwaukee had a very interesting angle on the Thanksgiving holiday, talking about mom guilt with the COVID-19 pandemic and all of the events unfolding throughout the year. Moms especially are feeling pressure to make these holidays feel special for their children. I know my mom feels guilty that she can't give me a hug on this Thanksgiving. Mom, if you're watching, I'm giving you an air hug. I miss you guys. So let's check in with our sister station Fox 6 Milwaukee for this story on mom guilt.
Approaching, many parents are really feeling pressure to make this time of year feel special for kids in the middle of this pandemic. Moms specifically feeling guilty. Things are going to look different.
Yeah, and they shouldn't feel guilty at all. Christina Van Zels with some tips an expert says can help you reimagine the holidays with your family.
Moms are really thinking about how sort of worried they are about having perfect holidays this year.
It's typically the most wonderful time of year, but 2020 adding some stress to parents, specifically moms.
Moms tend to take on a lot of the responsibility and sort of thinking about the holidays in general. And so now layer on top of that, we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Amanda Zelahesky, co-founder of Pandemic Parenting, says research shows moms have a higher prevalence in feeling guilty when it comes to kids. But she reminds parents the pandemic is out of our control.
So trying to hold yourself to the same expectations that you usually have and trying to do holidays in the ways that you usually do is just going to lead to disappointment.
Zelahesky says make the holidays less about materialistic things and remember what the time of year is about.
It's about connection and making people feel loved and appreciated and connected. And that's something that I think we need this year more than ever.
When talking to your kiddos, Zelahesky says this year can be about making new traditions, and kids might be okay with the changes or bring your attention to something they're missing this year.
The more that we can sort of empower them and introduce new traditions and say, well, you know, what do you think we could do this year to make this part feel really special?
And if there's one thing the holidays remind us, there's always hope. Christina Van Zelst, Fox 6 News.
We do have additional resources, including a webinar about how to make the holiday special. It's on our website, fox6now.com.
Holidays quickly approaching, many parents are really feeling pressure to make this time of year.
Well, meanwhile, this is a story families, including my mom, would approve of. Take a look at these adorable little guys. Guys, a group of ring-tailed lemurs enjoy a holiday feast at a Chicago area zoo this morning. Animals got to eat Thanksgiving dinner, too. The Brookfield Zoo rolling out some tasty turkey made mostly of primate biscuits, along with some steamed vegetables and other goodies, allowing the lucky lemurs to celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday in style. The meal was topped off with some pumpkin and sweet potato pie and apple juice to wash it all down. This is the 7th year in a row the lemurs named Moses, Dogwood, Ramses, and Butch received the mouth-watering meal. That is about the cutest thing I've ever seen compared to the owl that was found in the Rockefeller Center tree, who, by the way, guys, we got word that he has made it home safe and he is in wildlife care. Literally just the cutest thing you've ever seen. I'm gonna pop myself back on camera to say hello. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for watching News Now from Fox. We will be with you for about the next half hour before Mike Page, Daytona Everett, and Andrew Kraft take over in our Phoenix hub. We are a nationwide team. We here, myself, Rain Augustine, Pilar Arias, we are in Orlando, Mike Page, Andrew Kraft, and Daytona Everett in Phoenix. And even be sure to watch the weekends when Rain Augustine and Stephanie Weaver bring you the latest coverage on Saturdays and Sundays. Guys, happy Thanksgiving to you all. Thank you for watching us. If you're watching on the platform that has a chat, feel free to let us know what you're cooking today. Are you cooking turkey? Are you cooking stuffing, sweet potatoes? I gotta tell you, I'm not even a cranberry sauce fan, but my mom's cranberry sauce is amazing. I'm trying to get over the fact that I won't be able to eat it today. But whatever you are cooking, and maybe if you haven't put your turkey in the oven yet, our sister station Fox 5 Atlanta gets the latest with a chef on turkey preparation. So we're gonna bring you that coverage right here. It's making me hungry. I hope it makes you hungry too, but you guys are probably eating Thanksgiving dinner soon. So if you are still not putting that turkey in the oven, maybe you're waiting until the afternoon, feel free to take advice from this chef featured on Fox 5 Atlanta. Guys, thank you for watching News Now from Fox. I'm Regina Gonzalez. Okay, and it appears that where did I put this turkey update? Guys, this is the beauty of News Now from Fox, live, raw, and unedited. We are the ones that do the switching, anchor without a teleprompter, and bring you all the latest live coverage. While I search for this video of our sister station Fox 5 Atlanta's turkey preview, I do want to bring you a live picture of Herald Square in New York City. You're taking a live look at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Probably wrapping up here soon. You can see those floats. I can't really see it too much on my screen. I know that everybody waits for Santa Claus at the end, and I'm actually really unsure if Santa is even going to be there today. But I did see that big turkey float. Everybody waits for the turkey float as well. And speaking of turkeys, I did find this video for you. So we are going to head to Fox 5 Atlanta to give you the latest on turkey preparations. Guys, thank you so much for watching News Now from Fox.
Haven't gotten your menu for Thanksgiving together just yet? Well, don't worry, and we're going to save you some time while preparing that turkey.
Here's Chef Matthew Ridgway from Cooks and Soldiers with some tips when preparing the turkey.
Hi, I'm Matt Ridgway from Cooks and Soldiers restaurant for CHC. Today we're going to be showing you how to brine a turkey. what we're going to do is we're going to brine our green circle turkey. We like using green circle because it's a heritage breed turkey out of Amish farmers in Pennsylvania. It has a little bit more gamey flavor, not too strong, but it's much better than, to me, like a commodity bird. First thing, we'll take some of the water, turn it on, and then we'll put our salt, our sugar, into a small brine solution. So we're back. We've let the brine cool 100% in the refrigerator. Now that the brine is cold, your turkey's cold, you never want to put a hot brine over a turkey. We'll place the turkey inside the brine, letting it cover over and making sure that the brine is fully over top of the turkey itself. We're going to let this sit in the refrigerator for 24 to 48 hours. This is a 14-pound turkey, so this is going to go about 48 hours. So after 48 hours, hold the turkey out. One of the most important things is when you're pulling the turkey out, hold it over top of a sink, let it drain fully, or you're going to have a lot of turkey juice floating around your house. We use linen-like towels, but any quicker picker-uppers, we just dry off the turkey really well. The reason you want to dry off the turkey well is it helps with the cooking process, and it helps being able to, when you rub butter on it and have it stick. So after the turkey is nice and rubbed and dry, it'll feel a little bit tacky. That's a good thing. So first thing is to preheat your oven to 325. As you're preheating your oven, you're going to liberally rub butter all over the turkey. We will liberally salt the turkey. Even though we brined it, we're brining it for the flavor for the meat. This is going to help the outside turkey eventually get crispy. Lots of pepper. I like to use herb de Provence. From there, we put it on a roasting pan, put it in the oven, covered for about 2.5 hours. And then for another 45 minutes to an hour, we will pull the foil off and let it cook at 350 to get that skin nice and brown.
All right, everybody, you are taking a live look over Daytona Beach, Florida on this Thanksgiving Day. That was quite a yummy segment from our sister station, Fox 5 Atlanta. Guys, my mom and dad make the best turkey. I don't know how you're preparing yours or if you're eating a smaller or larger bird. We did do a story, if you were watching before, I did interview a turkey expert from the U.S. Department of Agriculture about how we even are able to get smaller turkeys, bigger turkeys, 8 to 10 pounds, but the demand for smaller turkeys this year is a lot greater due to the fact that many states are still under COVID-19 restrictions, and the small gatherings are really what is advised for this year. So we did want to bring you the latest on how to make a Thanksgiving turkey. Guys, again, you're looking at Daytona Beach, Florida. We are right down the road in Orlando, Florida, in our brand new studio. I'm going to pop myself on camera right here. Good morning, guys, and happy Thanksgiving to you all. If you're watching on the platform that has a chat, again, feel free to let us know how you are spending this holiday. Are you with family? Did you travel? We covered a lot of holiday travel yesterday. Airports across the country seeing pretty heavy traffic, flying, driving. You know, I think that this is the first holiday in 2020 where people felt somewhat comfortable to get on a plane. You know, a lot of airlines implementing masks on the entire flight, hand sanitizing stations all over the airport. Thanksgiving travel is real. Again, I hope you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving dinner if you are lucky enough to share a huge feast. Guys, regardless of a pandemic, people are still giving back this holiday to families who are a little less fortunate. How are you giving back this holiday? Let's check in with our Fox News team on how people are volunteering and sharing what they are grateful for with families in need. Again, thank you so much for watching News Now from Fox.
Lines of cars bumper to bumper waiting patiently for food. It's a scene that's becoming more common across the country as the pandemic rages on.
The demand for food assistance is far higher this Thanksgiving than any Thanksgiving in the past. Both because of the pandemic and so many people who are laid off their jobs.
I'm the only one that's able to work. My husband has lost his job.
But during these hard times, communities are coming together to make sure their friends and neighbors don't go hungry this holiday.
For this Thanksgiving, we purchased 7 truckloads of turkeys for distribution compared to 3 last year. So that gives you an idea of how much we see the demand increasing.
We just want to be a resource to try to ease the burden a little bit for struggling families.
As the need for assistance grows, food bank workers worry the pandemic is contributing to a nationwide hunger crisis.
We are averaging around 150 cars each Tuesday. Now it's over 500. And 50,000 meals a month, and now we're well over 100,000 meals a month.
Food isn't the only thing people are donating. Others are lending their time and talents.
I've been blessed with my skills to sew. With my sewing machine, I've been making masks, and I wanted to give back.
Many folks say in times like these, family is one of the most important things to be thankful for.
We can lose our family members at any moment, so I'm grateful for having my family around.
As COVID-19 cases continue to skyrocket, health officials say the best way to help keep your loved ones safe is by social distancing this holiday season. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
All right, thank you so much to our Fox News team for providing us that update on how people are giving back during the holidays. I know normally one of my best friends from home and her wonderful family put together an entire Thanksgiving for people in need in our community in New York that I typically volunteer at every year. But I am working this year. I'm very grateful to be here in Orlando. We are based at Fox 35 Orlando Studios. For those of you who don't know, we are the most recent NewsNOW Orlando team. And even though we work in our own NewsNOW studio, we have several morning, afternoon shows. Our Fox 35 Orlando team does a wonderful job at bringing us the latest news from across Central Florida, including today on this Thanksgiving Day. We have the Orlando Magic, the NBA team, providing breakfast, a Thanksgiving breakfast for millions of families, and other volunteer groups hand delivering thousands of meals to homes across Central Florida. So I do want to bring you the latest from our very own Fox 35 Orlando on how people are giving back right in our hometown. Again, thank you for watching News Now from Fox. I'm Regina Gonzalez.
Meanwhile, Americans across the country observing a bit of an unusual Thanksgiving this year, as many families have chosen not to travel for the holiday.
But the pandemic making today especially challenging for people who just struggle to make ends meet. Good Day Orlando has live team coverage right now with the groups who are bringing meals to those in need. We start with Fox 35's Jessica Albert. She's live in Orlando, and Jess, the Magic are preparing their 28th annual Thanksgiving breakfast as we speak.
Good morning, Amy. Yes, we are live at the Coalition for the Homeless of Central Florida, where the Orlando Magic will be serving a meal to hundreds of people who are currently homeless here in Central Florida. Now, take a look. You can see that the dining room is already prepped for this event. The staff is getting it ready now. They're also cooking the meal, and they've set the tables. I don't know if you can tell, with some very, very cute decorations that I love. Now, they've been here since 3 this morning, and this is the 28th year for this breakfast. They take this very seriously. I'm told also in about 30 minutes, Magic head coach Steve Clifford and others from the Magic organization will be here to help serve the meal, and the coalition will also be serving to-go meals for people in the community in need who cannot be here because of COVID-19. But the actual breakfast for the people who live here at the coalition will start at 8 this morning, and I will be out here live as they start to eat their breakfast, and of course, you can tune in and watch with us here on Good Day Orlando. But for now, I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Jessica, thanks. Yeah, we will continue to watch that throughout the day. Our team coverage continues with Matt Trezza. He is live at the Southeastern Food Bank in Ocoee. Matt, good morning. I know they hope to deliver meals to over 1,000 families today.
Yeah, they're going to be feeding a lot of people. You can see they're actually opening the back of one of the trucks now. You can see the boxes of fruit that they've got on it. There is another truck off to the other side here. They've got boxes of food already packaged. That's on that truck. And just now they said they were going to kick it off at 7 o'clock, and pretty much right on time. All the volunteers who are set up here are going to start unloading the boxes so they can get them in cars and off to families in need. Now we have a look from earlier that they did all the pre-packing, that they put together these boxes. Normally they put them together here on site, but actually because of COVID this year, they put them together in a warehouse before that. Now this is a tradition that the food bank has been upholding for nearly 30 years here, and they've been abiding by all the social distancing and masking safety procedures in order to get it done this year. This is all starting here today at the West Orlando Baptist Church, where volunteers are going to be loading these boxes of food onto volunteers' cars, and then they're going to be distributed to families in need, less fortunate families throughout the area. Now this is something that they do 3 times a year. They do it on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and during the spring, and we're going to stick around and watch them as they load up the cars, and then we're going to follow one of them along on its route as they are delivering the meals later on this morning. For now, live in Ocoee, Matt Trezza, Fox 35 News.
All right, everyone, you're taking a live look over Macy's Herald Square in New York City. One of the beauties of News Now from Fox, we can pop you up across the country and take you to different events happening across the nation. You can see those balloons walking through the square. It is a very much smaller parade than typically each year. Like I said before, my dad and my family are typically balloon walkers. They did not do it this year due to COVID-19 concerns, a much smaller staff. But again, they did want to get the show rolling for at least some sort of performance on this very unprecedented holiday, Thanksgiving, during a global pandemic. Now, guys, if you are having family over today, if you are planning on hosting, you know, it's been a big political year. We had the 2020 presidential election, where actually I can take you to a live picture of the White House looking at the nation's capital. A beautiful fall day over the White House. If you watch News Now from Fox earlier this week, you would have seen President Donald Trump pardoning 2 turkeys named Corn and Cobb. Now, they were both pardoned, very beautiful birds. If you watch on the platform that has a chat, you can see our very own Andrew Kraft's interview with the gentleman who was next to President Donald Trump with the turkeys. He had the turkeys in his hotel room. He was in charge of watching them. It was very amusing. I'm very glad that at least 2 turkeys are spared from a Thanksgiving dinner table. But guys, back on the topic of politics. If you, again, are having family over, maybe a family that has some different political views than you do. So I actually spoke with mental toughness coach Eric Rittmeyer yesterday. You will see that this interview is meant to air today. We talk about Thanksgiving. It is me, but not the same outfit I was wearing yesterday. It is the outfit I was wearing yesterday, excuse me. Well, like I said, Eric Rittmeyer, we talk about how to avoid political turmoil, political conversations at the Thanksgiving dinner table. He's a very enthusiastic guy, very knowledgeable. So I do want to bring you that interview here on News Now from Fox before we pass it off to our team in Phoenix. Mike Page about to join us on News Now from Fox. But first, let's get the latest from my interview with Eric Rittmeyer. Guys, thank you so much for watching News Now from Fox, and happy Thanksgiving. Hello, everyone. You're watching News Now from Fox on this Thanksgiving Day. I am joined right now by mental toughness expert Eric Rittmeyer. Mr. Rittmeyer, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Regina, happy Thanksgiving to you, and thank you for having me. It's so awesome to be here.
I don't need to tell you that Americans have seen a rough year. Really, the entire world has. A COVID-19 pandemic, a big election, racism, and riots across the country. So can we start off by you explaining, as an expert, how have you seen the events
unfolding over the last year affecting people's mental health?
It's pure insanity right now, Regina. I refer to this as emotional intoxication. And as a nation right now, we're just intoxicated in emotion. We're incapable of logical thought processes. Emotion and logic are inversely related. So as we become more emotional, we become less logical. When we're overcome with emotion, when we're intoxicated, just like with alcohol, when you're so overcome with emotion, you're incapable of logical thought processes. That's where our nation is right now. We're latching onto these things, these feelings we have. We're totally disregarding what we see with our eyes. What we feel in our hearts is more important than that. And then what ends up happening is we ruin relationships because of this. We get upset with people. We can't accept opposing points of view, all because we're so strong on this emotion. It's a problem.
Now, how have you seen politics affect families?
Oh, I'm unfortunately, every year I do segments on handling difficult family members during the holidays, just getting ready for the cousin Eddie's coming over with the pet snot rubbing his belly, right? Get yourself something real nice, Clark. So every year I talk about that. This year it's like to the nth degree, because now we have the cousin Eddie still coming over, but on top of it, they're just ready. They're ready to go. They're ready to walk in there throwing jabs, right? Who won this election? Who did this? Who did that? We have to mentally prepare for that. We have to be aware of our triggers. That's the main thing I try to tell everybody. Know what triggers you, be prepared for it. So when you're put in that position, when somebody says something you don't like, learn to respond, which is going to be a logic-based response as opposed to a reaction, which is emotion-based. We have to mentally prepare for those situations.
So kind of going off of what you just said, what is your advice for people sitting around for dinner talking about the rough year that we had?
We have to learn to set aside our beliefs. Okay, so we each have these hardcore beliefs. We all do. When we're confronted with someone who has an opposing point of